Welcome into another edition of The Complete Angler. My name's JC Brooks, and I'm sitting alongside the knowledgeable Joe Long. Joe will basically be explaining spawning to us, and yes, we actually fixed the TV to where you can actually see it now. Want to take it away?
Sure. Thanks to our tech guy, JC, for making the TV viewable for you guys. So, today we're going to talk about bass fishing. We're going to talk about after the ices went off, the water's warming. This is the frontal conditions we have now. We are in April, and if you look at this map, this is by Mystery Tackle Box. And if you look, we are basically right there in Ohio. Wherever you are, you'll be able to see you on the map. But we are basically right there. So
If you want to zoom in, I bet you could a little bit.
We are
There.
right there. So we are in the April to May, and it is definitely looking like more May spawn because we just got, what was it? It was snowing yesterday. Midway into April, it was snowing the other day.
And it was 70 the day before.
Yeah.
Over
And
70.
it's going to be 80 this weekend. So that tells you where bass are spawning. So in February and March, they were already spawning in Texas and Florida. We're that much behind. So let's take a peek here. This is a spawning female on the top, and at the bottom, you can see that is a buck bass or a male bass. They are on the bed. You can see it's kind of sandy around the bottom. And they do that by using their fins, and they basically dust off the place, make it clear so they can lay their eggs there. And if you cast up in there with a bluegill type thing or a crawfish type bait, you will get the buck bass 9 times out of 10. So let's look at the next picture. This is a bass, and you see that tail is bloody. That is because they have made their bed, and it literally wears away the bottom of their tail in doing that.
Gotta zoom. Well, maybe not.
The next thing is what I like to use early season, which is now. This is a
I'm guessing the Guggen bait by the background.
chatterbait with the Kraken Crawl by Guggen Baits. Now this is like a purple and brown. I like to use the orange and brown, but it's a good bait. Or I use the Bandito bug sometimes. So this tells you when water temperature hits from 50 to 70, which it's not there yet. JC tested that for me, and I come back with an ice cube on his arm.
It's cold.
So the 3 stages are pre-spawn, spawn, and post-spawn. We are right now in pre-spawn. And on the side there, it shows you the lure suggestions for each thing. So in pre-spawn, you want to use something like a crawfish, which is like what I showed you I use, a chatterbait with the crawfish. For the spawn, you'd like to use a square bill, or sometimes a crankbait. It also shows spinnerbait. And post spawn, they like to use poppers, which I use a popper frog, which I'll show you the one I use here in a second, or a slow moving swim bait like a boot tail. So here is the bait of choice, and again, bluegills, coloration.
I want to zoom in, maybe.
This is
There you go.
a Rapala scatter wrap, and that is one of my favorites. I caught my PB that you've seen before on this, not this very bait, but that style of bait. And here we have 2 live target popping frogs. I used one of these tonight.
Water's just too cold. You aren't gonna
Yeah.
do very good no matter what you
We were
did.
just doing a video on how to work them, but that is, I believe the one in the back is the exact one, and they are made by Live Target. And that's me catching a fish tonight, and as you can see, they're very skinny. The water is just warming up, and they should be putting the feed bag on pretty soon to get up to weight. And then once they get up to weight, they're going to look a lot bigger to you. This is a good prototypical of beds. You see two different beds right there in the middle. I'm not sure if there's a fish on that one.
Looks like it.
It looks like it, doesn't it? But that's kind of how they make their nest or bed. People use different terminology, but yeah. So, pre-spawn, from ice out to pre-spawn, you're going to want to use crawfish colors. During the spawn, you want to use something that looks like a bluegill because that's who normally comes in and grabs the eggs. And so they have to defend against those. And lots of times, if they're
Eat 'em.
bigger, they'll eat them. So it's a good bait to get them. And then after that, once post-spawn, they're looking to get fat again because the males have been running around defending the nest and the females have been laying eggs, and after they get through that cycle and their fry grow up, they are definitely skinny. So that's when I start using the poppers because they become very active. One other tip I wanted to let you know about. They spawn normally in 3 different waves. No matter lake or pond, you'll have early spawners, you have mid-range spawners, and you have late spawners. Mother Nature is pretty dang smart, and the reason that is because they don't want them to all be early spawners and then have a bad cold front like we had yesterday, where it literally went from 70 to snowing.
Because that'll
It'll kill the fry or it'll kill the eggs. And so Mother Nature says we're going to do it in 3 different waves. And if one wave is lost, the whole year's worth of, that whole generation is not lost. So Mother Nature is pretty smart in how she tells these creatures what to do. So for Joe Long,
JC Brooks.
remember to
Like, subscribe, leave a comment. When you subscribe, hit the little ding dong because good job, YouTube. See you on the lake.
thanks guys. Take a kid fishing.